Hello and welcome to PlayStation Rumble, a video game podcast where each episode we try our best. And isn't that all that anyone can really ask for? My name is Jamie, and joining me, as always, because he's no one-trick pony, it's Tony.
Good day.
And a man who's been furiously playing his Switch all week, but now he's on the even kill, it's Neal.
I stand by my opinions on The Last of Us.
It's still too soon. So, it's episode 3, and it's going to be our last episode on Deadly Premonition. I thought it would never end. My nana always used to say when I was young, if you're going to make a podcast and try and get a wide audience, make sure you make the first 3 episodes a 3-parter about a niche game. And I think I've made her proud. Yes, so we're going to be continuing our talk on Deadly Premonition. It's going to be the last episode on it. Are you excited?
Very much so.
I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot happens at the end of this game. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. Our next game is going to be The Last Guardian. So if you fancy joining along for that, you've got 2 weeks to play it, and that episode will come out on the 15th of December. But before we get into anything else, gentlemen, how have your weeks been?
I got my Switch back. I had my buddy's child daughter play it for a little bit, and she got bored of it, and so I took it back without her realizing it. Because children, they say
a Switch from a child without telling them.
No, she knew.
They wouldn't notice.
She knew, but I said I wanted to get it right away before she tries to say, "Oh, I want to play it somewhere," because she hadn't touched it.
Before she says, "Please, Tony, let me play the Switch a little longer." No, give it back.
What is this fucking, what was that, Oliver fucking Twist over here? Please stop, give us some more. No.
All we wanted was a bit more Gruel and Breath of the Wild too.
I'm excited for that. That's going to be a couple months. No, I took it because she's like, I don't play it anymore. Okay, I'll just take it back. And I wanted to get it because you know how kids are.
No, please tell me.
Something they'll touch is going to be taken away. They're going to suddenly want to play it, and then they don't actually play it. They'll just sit there and look at it. But yeah, so I'm playing Metroid Dread, which I have mixed feelings on.
Can we just address the elephant in the room here? Tony does own a bird, and that is the thing you can hear in the background. What's your bird? I always call it a parrot, Tony. What is it? It's not a parrot at all.
There's a few in the living room.
Yeah, so if you hear that, don't be alarmed. That's just Tony's birds.
Oh yeah, so Metroid Prime, or not Metroid Prime, Metroid Dread. As I said, I have kind of mixed feelings on it, which I'll get into, I guess, some of the time. And then because of Black Friday week or Black Friday weeks, I picked up Ghost of. How the fuck you say it?
Tsushima.
I picked up Ghost of
Tsushima. I think you'll find.
Ghost of Tsushima, because it's like $20 at Best Buy, and I got a standard edition. I got the standard edition because probably the Director's Cut was like, I think $40, and I probably won't touch the DLC, and if I do, I'll probably want to get PS5 sometime in the distant future. And it's like, I think $20 to upgrade it to the PS5 version, the base version of the game. So it's $20 now and it's $20 in some future time. And I also, Guardians of the Galaxy had it on sale for like $30. So I picked that up because I love me some Guardians of the Galaxy and heard very good things about it.
That went on sale really quick.
It's Black Friday. That's why you try not to buy anything on Black Friday unless it's like brand new that came out like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, like Metroid Prime. It's not going to drop. But something like a month ago, it has more chance of dropping. And I also have Deadly Premonition 2 on the way, so I'm looking forward to
jumping the gun.
I'm looking forward to see how awful that runs.
It's not great, but it's better once it's patched.
Aren't we all?
We'll see about that.
Yeah, I think everyone was a bit surprised with the sort of advert campaign with the Guardian. It just sort of seemed to they didn't really seem to push hard for it, except for showing it at a few showcases. And I think it's had quite a good reception, hasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of what's the word? Kind of concern after the blunder that was the Avengers game. But then
they went out of their way to say this is not a multiplayer online experience.
Yeah, but then even when people, it was like officially the trailer came out, people were still kind of skeptical, and then it started getting a lot of positive feedback from first impressions. And I just like meeting some Guardians, and I like the whole Mass Effect vibe it has on it too. So I'm looking forward to that, getting around to it eventually.
Nice. Neal, what's been going on in your gaming week?
Well, I've also been playing my Switch. It's a good thing this is a PlayStation podcast. There's only one game I've been playing. It got delayed in Canada for a few days, which was really irritating. But
I hear you were quite cool about it, though. So.
To say Neal was upset is the understatement of the year.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've been playing SMT5, and I'm quite pleased with it overall. I'm just I'm like 25-ish hours in, I guess.
So you barely started.
Barely started. Positive impressions overall. There was a bit of a kerfuffle with one of the reviews, the IGN review earlier this week. I don't know if either of you saw.
No. I've only seen good things about it.
They reviewed it and they called it Persona Without the Heart, which got,
That's not a fan base you want to poke.
Persona Without the Heart kind of is the SMT series because it's a lot darker and a lot more.
Finally, Tony said something controversial on the podcast.
It's not controversial at all. SMT is very dark. Persona is a little more lighthearted.
But they're not saying it's the dark side of Persona. They're saying it has no heart. Like it's just a bit.
I'm just saying it literally has no heart because it's completely cynical in a sense. Like it's not what they meant, but it's not completely off base with how the games generally are.
Well, the main crux of the review spends a lot of time comparing it to Persona 5, complaining it's not Persona 5, and then at the end, there was Persona Without the Heart, and people sort of raked the reviewer over the coals, and were making endless memes about it, and I think somewhat rightfully so. I mean, that reviewer does not, let me be clear, they don't deserve death threats, and they don't deserve, real abuse. But when you're a reviewer, and you're reviewing a series, and part of your job is to sort of inform yourself about that series, and this person clearly hadn't. They had probably played Persona 5, and that was it. And, this is a website, it's an international website where one of the main sort of cruxes of their business is to attract people to read the reviews, and you put out a review like this, where everybody's mocking it, and it's like, well, you should have done your job a little better.
Yeah, it's funny that they criticize it for not being Persona when, in fact, Persona is a spin-off of the series. And, you can't spell ignorant about IGN, so.
I also think SMT fans, it seems like they don't really like that comparison anyway, because I think it's quite whether it's lazy or not, it's a comparison that lots of people use in the media. And because, probably, I don't know, would I be fair to say that Persona has now a larger, or at least a more mainstream gamer audience than SMT?
Probably more mainstream would be fair to say.
Yes.
Maybe.
So I think, I don't know, it seems some people get upset when they're like, this is how it is different and similar to Persona. But if not for that, I wouldn't know, I wouldn't, I find that helpful. Obviously saying it's like Persona Without Heart, questionable.
But it's one thing to say, oh, they're different. It's another thing to say, oh, I wish it was Persona. That makes no sense because it's not Persona. That's the whole point of it. Persona is a whole separate thing. That's the whole point of being separated. Otherwise, they're not calling it Persona 6, they're calling it SMT5 because it's the fifth mainline game.
That's the issue that people are having.
Can we do Persona 5 for the podcast? Just putting it out there.
I keep hearing that P3 and P4 remasters are coming, and I've been hearing it because
I mean, P4 has been remastered. It's called Golden. It's on the Vita. And it's beautiful. It's also on PC now.
Yes, but I keep hearing that these are going to be coming to modern consoles. I mean, Atlas is doing these Persona announcements. I think it's once a month for the next year.
Oh, yes, they are.
So you mean like an actual, like, realized remaster, not the farces that we've been getting in the past couple of years?
I don't know. I mean, it probably is going to be closer to the farces.
I wouldn't mind playing. I have Persona 3 for my PS2. I got really into it. Young adult life happened, and I think I went out one night and then forgot about it. But I wouldn't mind playing through it again, especially if there's some quality of life improvements.
You should sell it and buy a house, because they're quite expensive. They're quite expensive on the old retro gaming market.
The Persona, I don't think so. Persona 3?
The PS2 one. Oh, yeah. Like,
both
of those games. Tony's like, shit, I'm quitting the podcast, I'm a millionaire.
That might only be in Europe, because I think...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
40 whole American dollars, I'm rich.
Are you kidding me? Oh my god, alright. I'm looking it up now.
Persona 2 for the PS1
Persona 2 is like $500.
$300 at minimum. I have a copy of that. I don't really like it because it's very slow. It's a game of its time, man. I don't have patience for slow combat. I would love to play I think the Vita versions or the PSP versions where it's a lot more updated.
I have both of the PSP versions for Persona 1 and Innocent Sin, and they're pretty good.
Are both versions of Persona 2 on PSP? Do they turn punishment?
No. So what they did was they released Innocent Sin on the PSP and didn't release Eternal Punishment, and then they released Eternal Punishment on the PS1 and didn't release Innocent Sin. Don't ask me.
Persona 3 in the UK is going to cost you between £150 and £250. That's Persona 3 Fez.
Fez. Okay, yeah.
I don't know what that is. Is that like the golden equivalent of 3?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's expensive. I'm not buying that.
I own both of those. I bought every SMT related release since Nocturne. So anyway, yes, SMT 5. It's different from its predecessors. Its demon designs are more like the old series. They're not as terrible as they were in 4. Soundtrack is quite good, but very different from past games, so I'm getting used to it. Mechanics are largely similar to old games. There are some certain tweaks here and there that I'm getting used to, but overall, I mean, yes, I'm enjoying it. It's been a long, bloody time coming, so I'm glad it's finally here.
Yeah, it's also the exploration is a lot different from the past games because there's no more random encounters. You can actually explore the land and kind of like in Chrono Trigger and games like that. You just have to avoid enemies, which I think is really cool because
I think all RPGs should be like that.
I generally love the world of the SMT games, and I just like that you could explore these landscapes without having to be worried about getting murdered for turning a corner.
Well, one of the things it does that I really like is it finally gives you a sense of scale with yourself compared to all the demons. So you can see the demons on screen, and you can see how big they are compared to you. So you'll have demons that are like 5 times your size, and you'll walk up to them and fight them. And it's kind of cool that way. It's the first time it's really done it to any consistent extent. Nocturne did a little bit in certain fights, but...
As good as like Pokemon Yellow when that little Pikachu follows you behind?
Well, this is my Pokemon.
It's basically, isn't it like demonic Pokemon, basically?
There are aspects of it that are like that, yes.
Yeah, you can like merge them and everything. It's gnarly, but I was reluctant. I kind of want it. I'm just waiting a little longer.
That's why you rip that Switch out of a child's hands, isn't it?
So, Jamie, how's your week been?
My week has been okay, a little slow, but I did have some friends around the other week, and we played on... I used the Crackhead Pack True Blue thing that I was talking about in the last episode, the PS1 emulator for the PS Classic, And what did I use it for? I used it for games that I already own. Which is the same with all emulation, isn't it? It's just like convenience over sort of ownership.
So you bought Simpsons Wrestling and then ordered something online from overseas to play Simpsons Wrestling?
Yes, that is exactly what I did. No, I played, as I'm sure you'll be delighted to hear, Crash Team Racing, the best, I'm going to say it again, the best kart racer ever invented.
No, it's not, but...
Well, was that, Tony?
It's not.
Can you name a better one, sorry?
All the Mario Kart games.
All of the Mario Kart games?
All the Mario Kart games, yes.
Do not hold a flag to Crash Team Racing.
Crash Team Racing is garbage.
Have you played it, sir? Then you don't know how it's so much more in depth. Then look, if you want to bumble around and get some lucky bananas and win at the end,
Yeah, so that's exactly what I want to do. I want to shoot shells at my friends and then laugh at them as I pass the finish line.
If you want a game that rewards skill and is highly competitive, please go and play Crash Bandicoot Team Racing. Probably don't play what I did on the weekend, which was the original one, because polygons were a thing. Back in the PS1, I know we're like a sort of, semi-retro gaming podcast, but dear Lord, the polygons on that, it was like watching, we've come a long way, particularly because it's had a 2019, 2018 remaster. I could really tell the difference. But the joyous thing about it was literally sitting down with PlayStation controllers, like old PlayStation controllers, and playing we've all got that friend who we're very competitive with, no matter what aspect of life it's in. And I've definitely got that friend who, when it came to gaming, when it came to races like Roll Cage or Halo, whatever it was, we were just ultra competitive. And we sat down and we played CTR, and it was like being like a 10-year-old again, with that burning urge to win and destroy your opponent. And it just felt really nice to have some some couch co-op, good time fun. So I was very happy about that. When's the last time you sat on a sofa with someone and actually played a game?
Fairly recently. My friend's daughter and his nephew came down, and we all sat in his other kid's room, and we played Mario Kart and Smash.
I didn't want to hear that, Tony. I didn't want to hear that.
Probably Hong Kong. When I would play, I had a friend from Canada who also lived there, and we would play different games together. Some on Switch. We actually played a Way Out in one sitting together, which was
great game.
Quite interesting.
Yeah, but isn't that just the best experience? And you can kind of, depending on what game, I'm going to play just the two of us with the guy I was playing Crash Bandicoot with, my friend. And even though that's going to be over the internet, it's going to be online, I still feel like there are some games that retain that sort of couch co-op fun that we used to have, back in the 90s and early noughties.
You know what are really good kart racing games that have local multiplayer?
Mod Nation Racer?
No, the two Sonic racing, racing Transformers, whatever they're called. Both of those are excellent.
I remember Jack X. Was it the Jack game? The Jack racing game. Jack X was pretty cool. I remember playing the number of that.
Was it? Because I do have that, but I've also being such a Naughty Dog fanboy, I've never played Jack and Daxter. And this year I went back and played number 1, and I've started number 2, and number 2 is so unplayable. I don't care, I'm really sorry if you've got electric goggles for that game. It's the stick, you can traverse the map with this with motorbikes and stuff like that can sort of hover. It's unplayable. It's literally the most cool. And I've just played Ratchet and Clank 1 for the first time this year, and that was amazing how well that stood up.
Are you playing the original versions or the remasters that are released for PS3?
I'm playing the PS3 remastered trilogy.
Because I was playing some Jack 1 years ago, and it's just your standard action platformer. But I've heard good things about Jack 2 and 3. So.
I mean, I've heard good things as well. I mean, Jack 2 is more like a sort of, basically a sort of GTA-ish, kind of Ratchet and Clank-ish meld of a Jack and Daxter game.
Oh, you know what game's on the cover now? The Jack trilogy.
I don't know.
So what you're saying is Jack 2 is the Last of Us of platformers.
Go away, Neal. No one wants to hear it.
No, he's saying Jack 2 is the Final Fantasy 8 of action platform.
Same difference.
The thing is, I know you're baiting me, and I'm not going to take it, because that's a fucking... I'm not even going to say it. Because our audience know it already. We are a PlayStation podcast, and formally endorse The Last of Us.
No, we do not.
Okay, so we're moving on to the news. Have any of you guys ever heard of something called the Game Awards?
Never heard of it.
It's that time of year where the Game Awards come out and we all get very excited for what is some good work in the gaming community and a lot of heavy advertisement. But we've got the nominations have come out. Game of the Year. We've got 6 nominations this year. We have Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. What's your hot takes?
I don't know anything about Deathloop or It Takes Two because I don't have the PS5 yet. Between the others...
It Takes Two is PS4.
Is it? Okay. My suspicion is that it's going to be Resident Evil.
I have a feeling it's either going to be Deathloop or Resident Evil Village. As much as I love the Metroid series, and I'm happy that Metroid Dread is doing so well, even though I currently have a little mixed feelings about it, even though I am enjoying it, I don't dislike it. It's just not Super Metroid. That's besides the point. It's somebody's Super Metroid. That's all I can say. Somebody's Super Metroid. The fact that Metroid Dread even came out is a miracle in its own. But anyway, I'm happy it's on the list. I don't think it deserves to be on the list. There's a few other games that I think should be there in this place.
What would you have there that's not on there?
I was talking to Neal. I would say SMG5 or Forza. Forza is one of the big ones. I know it just came out, but so did Metroid Dread, and so
also PlayStation has no answer to Forza Horizon, do they? I mean, obviously they have an answer to motorsports. It's just,
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, Gran Turismo is the answer to the motorsports. Forza is split into 2 different series. It's the motorsports one, which is the GT equivalent, and then Horizon is a slightly more arcadey.
Horizon's more like
Need for Speed.
More like kind of Need for Speed or
Need for Speed in the Gran Turismo.
What's the other game?
It's not super serious, but it's not.
It's kind of like Burnout Paradise in a way, where it's open.
I think it's like I probably agree with you. It's going to come down to Deathloop or Resident Evil Village. I don't think Resi's a PS4 game also, isn't it?
It's a multi-platform. It's on all platforms.
Yeah. I'm going to shock you. I haven't played it. It's a scary game.
I haven't played through 7, so I can't play through Village yet.
We gotta have your vegetables. Definitely, I do think that really does take my interest, and when eventually PS5 angels shine upon me, bestow me with a PS5, I'd love to play it. The only game I own on this is It Takes Two, which I've recently bought and really excited to play. I'm also impressed it got up there. It's on a lot of these awards. Who do you think should take it?
For Game of the Year?
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in this race. I'm kind of indifferent to this one.
If I have to call it, maybe Deathloop, because just in the sheer creativity to the genre, to the whole time looping thing. Even though I've personally played it, I've read that the AI is kind of lacking, but they have, from what I understand, they're releasing a patch, or have released a patch, probably by the time this podcast comes out, that's going to fix a lot of the AI issues and everything. So I think Deathloop definitely has maybe a slight higher chance than Village, just because of its general originality, in a sense.
Alright, I guess we will have to wait and see. And let's move on to our game discussion now. So for the final time, please enjoy Deadly Premonition.
Previously during the investigation.
It's FK holding a red tree. It's practically like showing you a piece of paper saying, "This is the killer."
She's just talking, there's like blood splattering everywhere. She's like,
If there ever was a murder, I really hope you would be the one out of the three of us investigating it.
So we get to the beginning of episode 4, and we get a last time on Deadly Premonition, which is very much like a TV show. Something I wanted to compare. Both this and Alan Wake came out in the same year, and both this and Alan Wake do the same thing. They both do a kind of episodic mode where they show you what happened in the last episode as if it were a TV show, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't think either of them sort of knew what the other was going to do. I don't think either one was copying from the other, but I just thought it was an interesting thing that both of them are kind of games set in the Pacific Northwest, kind of horror games, and both took on sort of a TV trope.
Which was very popular at the time, that sort of TV trope. Is that a Twin Peaks reference, Tony, or...?
No, but
the rare occasions it isn't.
No, I don't think Twin Peaks ever did that. I didn't watch it live. They might have done it on a live feed when it was first coming on air, but I don't think they did that on the DVD or anything. But it's interesting because the Alone in the Dark remake from around the same time did something similar. But no, that game is like a truly terrible game.
That game is awful. We are never playing that game.
That's episode 3, isn't it?
That's episode 3. And Alone in the Dark Inferno for the PS3, the supposedly better version of it, but it most certainly is not. That's another game with a very, very high concepts, some very cool things, but unlike Deadly Premonition, it has no type of personality of any kind, and it's pretty just straight up awful most of the time.
I think Deadly Premonition is not lacking in personality. I don't think anyone could make that claim.
Both in gameplay and just overall
atmosphere,
programming stance. Actually, there's some cool ideas in Alone in the Dark. I'm not going to say it's completely terrible, but programming-wise, the crashing and the just overall problems, the frame rate dropping to like nothing, and just story was terrible. Gameplay was just as bad. There's some cool ideas but that's besides the point. Let's get back to the actual game and topic.
Well, we're talking about cool ideas. I think one thing that Deadly Premonition did that I don't think I've seen any game do, at least to not such an extent, is that when you're going around the town, I think for me the most interesting bit is literally when you get your freedom to like go around the town and sort of do what you like. You can actually see all of the characters from the game are living their lives on this map. Sometimes you'll go past them when they're driving. They've got their little names above them. And they've all got like their own stories. And this plays into a lot of the side missions. It just sort of really makes it feel like, in a weird way, quite like a lived-in town, a map, which, considering some of the other things are lacking, I thought that's like a quite a good effort.
Yeah, it was a very like RPG type of thing to do. And for lack of a better description, not many like survival horror open world type games really did it that often, especially not one like I'm pretty sure some PC games at some point did that, but for like a game on a console, I don't remember that many games attempting that kind of lived-in feeling. Like everyone's on the schedule. You can set to T when so and so's gonna go to work and when so and so's gonna go here. Like everyone has this like clockwork, like normal everyday life.
Well, I'm now going to call the Truman Show effect.
One more point before we go on. If I wanted to make an analogy, a movie analogy, since Deadly Premonition talks about movies so much, I would say that Alan Wake is Evil Dead 1, Deadly Premonition is Evil Dead 2, and Alone in the Dark is an Uwe Boll movie.
Well, that was a Uwe Boll movie. So
actually, yeah, it was. I forgot about that.
It was pretty terrible, and I'm a huge fan of horror in general, and it was one of the most boring movies I've ever seen in my life.
So, we at that point we had an alert that Thomas was at his apartment. So York goes to Thomas's apartment and he finds his wig.
It leads him to believe that he is involved in the killings, but he's not actually the killer himself.
So then he sees a vision of Anna, who he follows to Thomas's bar.
Yeah, you see a vision of Anna, and you start driving. She's leading you down the road, and I spent a long time shooting what feels like 1,000 bullets into cardboard zombies that go, "Don't want to die." And it was so satisfying to not have to do that and just plow them down in a car going 50 miles an hour. Also, they would just be flat on the ground, like sort of, they would be absolutely flat on the ground. And then as soon as you kind of went near them to run them over, they sort of spring up like a sort of clown at a fair. That was a sort of a power moment, wasn't it?
I had a little problem with that moment chasing Anna because she looped on me. And I think I ended up failing it because it took me too long to get there.
She looped on me as well.
She looped on me, and then I think then all of a sudden, my second time around, I got lost. I lost her, and all of a sudden I hit the destination. But the first time it was frustrating. She's like, "Oh, follow me," and then complete circle. I'm like, make up your mind.
But yeah, she loops and then leads you to Carol's bar?
The dungeon, yes. This is where he goes into the dungeon, and he finds the dungeon and the locket, and then he is knocked out. So then we go into a dream in which we see the child, and the scene is really, really, really too long because of how you run.
You're following your dad,
yes,
and it just takes forever. This is after Nick's car chase. I just thought they were literally testing me to see how much I want to finish this game at this point. I'll tell you one thing, that boy, young York, cannot run very fast.
No, he can't.
It's a meagre effort. I think this is one of those times where the game's really telling you who's doing what. Slapping me over the face with it, I'm still not getting it. Because at the end of that forest as a boy, you find Willie, the dog, which you might think, okay, that's not so indicting. But then you enter the Red Room and you see all three current victims with a caisson doll, with a forest caisson doll. I don't know what was going through my mind when I saw that, but I must just have thought, that's nice. I'm still not suspecting caisson at this point.
Really?
No, I'm hard not.
To be honest, I completely, like I said, I played this before. I'm playing this game. I'm like, oh, cool, Caison's teamed up with him. That's weird and quirky. So I completely forgot that Caisson was a villain until like the very end when it was like in your face. So I didn't catch that either. I didn't think about it at all. Like I said, I was just on his wild ride.
I'm glad you say that, Tony, because they could not be trying to inform you. We've had the FK at this point. We've had him turning up pretty much every time there's been like something suspicious going on, and now his dog and this doll is being held by the three victims.
I think he could have literally said, "Hey, I killed all these people," or like, "Hey, it's all my doing." I'm like, "No, it's not. Shut up."
Do you know this like red tree I've been holding the whole game? Yeah, that's kind of something important.
See these seeds? These seeds have all these seeds, and these seeds are in the victims. That's not suspicious at all. You're right. It's not suspicious. Moving on.
But then I think we're treated to another sort of grandpa scene where you sort of see him, you see his face for the first time from afar. And I don't know if they're trying to hide it, but it's York. You see that the grandpa is York. So that takes us on to episode 5, and this is a nice little scene. Do you want to tell us about it now?
York awakens blindfolded. Caisson takes George and Emily into the dungeon. Emily runs off with Caisson, while Willie tracks the scent of York's cigarette. York has visions of Emily and realizes that he's in love with her. And then, through this whole chase, I just said this whole scene is too long. The dialogue could have combined into one cutscene and trimmed down.
I thought the moment where he's tied to the chair and he's first getting visions of Anna, and then he's sort of having this conversation with Thomas, I really liked that. And the fact that it was sort of so segmented made me want more of it. What I didn't want more of is chasing Willie down literally the longest way.
That's what I meant when I said that scene is too long.
It's awful. It's the final time they test me on how much do you want to finish this game, because there's going to be a long, unnecessary chase here.
Speaking of the dog, nobody's mentioned how his his doghouse is just on the back of Casey's car, and Casey's just speeding everywhere, and the doghouse is not moving an inch.
Yeah, you don't do that?
But yeah, I like the little. I definitely like the little jumping back and forth. I didn't like so much the running. I actually like the fact that you controlled Emily. I kind of wish it was a little bit more. Maybe she, maybe instead of her just running in a straight line or running in circles, that she would actually start to do a little investigation herself and had a few little investigation moments herself, kind of like what I think maybe 1 or 2 small moments where she did a little investigation and found different clues, had a little premonition, much like York.
Agreed.
I'm guessing that was too big of a concept for such a small budget, so...
At the top, it's always given your health, and then your stamina, and then it says York. And I thought, I know I'm York. I don't really always need in the UI the name of my main character. Why is that there? And then I went, you can play as Emily.
I just think that's also like an old school type of design too. So maybe it was just because then again, York's not really York's early spoiler alert. So maybe that's what it is too.
Yes, and I mean, literally on this chase as well, I was there confirming to myself after having just seen this Kaysen doll, they really wanted Forrest Kaysen as a sort of comedic, light side character, didn't they?
Yeah, a little sidekick. That's what I thought too. And meanwhile, I've actually played this game before, so like I said earlier, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, he is behind this at the end when Neal was finally revealed.
So I actually really like the dialogue between Emily and Kaysen. I think that's nice. Those are nice character moments. I just thought that it could have been combined into one scene, and we had done... If you had control of Emily, done a little investigation, maybe done a small chase, and then had her with Kaysen talking as one scene, it might have... help the pace a bit. Like, I agree with Tony, it would have been nice to do more with Emily.
I think that really felt like the budget ran out a little bit towards the end.
Maybe.
I just think, a lot of the chase, because there's yet another running scene coming up, and I'm like, this is the third time, like back to back almost. Kind of feel like a little bit of padding.
Yeah.
More than running out of budget, so I'm just guessing maybe maybe we just stretch this out a little bit longer.
We're starting to get the sense now that like the free roaming part of the game is over. This is like now filtering you through the sort of the main narrative of the game. Which made me sad, mainly because I was going to miss York's conversations in the car to himself. I mean, they are very humorous, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I think it did actually make me feel slightly less lonely in a world with quite a large map going quite slowly. And not a lot of people on the street. I don't think there's anyone on the street or other cars. But how he decides to talk to himself is something else. He will give film references and music references through the whole thing as if he's basically a Wikipedia entry.
He mentions a few bands, a lot of punk bands that I used to listen to like in my 20s with the old phase. And I'm lucky enough to live in an area where I was able to catch a few of the older bands and, little crappy little clubs, but I was able to. And the only one I can remember he mentioned was Dead Kennedys. And I also like to watch a lot of crappy B movies, too, so I kind of felt a connection with Zach and York on those both regards, because, at the time, I was doing that thing. That's exactly what I was doing with my friends. I was going to see these little dingy clubs to see punk bands and underground bands and stuff. And I love watching myself some terrible, awful 80s and 90s horror movies. So I felt a very strong connection for the love of both of those, on both those things.
That's you, Zach and York, just having a bit of a bond there.
Yeah.
So Neal, tell us, what are some of these references?
Some of the films mentioned include A Clockwork Orange, Alligator, An American Werewolf in London, Arachnophobia, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which is a great movie, Back to the Future 2, Blue Thunder, Cabaret, Cat People, The Deadly Spawn, The Empire Strikes Back, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Galaxy of Terror, The Goonies, Jaws, Lady Hawk, The Lethal Weapon series, The Lost Boys, and A Nightmare on Elm Street, Pretty in Pink, Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins, 16 Candles, Spider-Man, the 1977 TV film, I guess it is. I remember that there was a TV series in the 70s, and I think that's what he's talking about. St. Elmo's Fire, Star Wars, Superman 1 and 2, and 4.
That one in particular, like, that's such a good example. He goes, do you remember that film, Zach? And there were 4 of them, weren't they? And they were done this year by this actor. It's literally like, he's literally reading it from a review. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Tremors and Xanadu.
I only heard a few of those. I didn't realize it was that he had that many conversations. Then again, you did a lot more exploring side quests than I did, and Jamie did. But yeah, I've seen probably get 80 to 90% of the movies.
And I mean, it sounds like a good list. Annoyingly, though, if you get out of the car for a mission in mid-speech, he'll say, "Oh, we can talk about this later, Zach."
Yes.
And then you get back in, and he goes, "Oh, so where were we? Let's pick off from there." And what he means is, I'm going to give it to you right from the beginning. Really, right at the beginning of that audio speech. I thought they were going to do the very clever thing that you get nowadays in games where they literally join from that bit of conversation. But no. But so, yes, Willie leads Emily to the clock tower. And then we get to play as Emily, like, properly. The one bit when I was Emily, I thought, at least I'm not going to have to go through any of these dead creatures. And then they give me a gun, and I went, oh, okay. But we climb up what seems like the tallest clock tower in history. Would that be fair to say? It's quite a long staircase that you have to sort of...
I remember it being that tall, but then again, that take that long to get up it. But then again, I don't know, I was just absorbing all of it. And like I said, I like playing as Emily. I kind of wish it was she saw a little more of the horrors that he had to go through. It'd been cool if there was just like a big set piece for her before what was coming up before her encounter with Thomas.
It is interesting, though, that she gets to fight a boss before York does.
Yes, the first boss in the game. We're nearly at the end of it, the game. And they're like, here's your boss.
One of the 3 bosses in the game, and she fights one of them. And it's a pretty memorable fight too, with how it ends.
And Thomas keeps sort of flickering between. I think at the beginning he's quite reasonable, and then he said, I think he sort of flips and goes, "You're not going to have him," obviously referring to G, who we'll sort of come to in a minute. And then he sort of gets very sort of sassy and starts the boss fight. What did you guys think about this boss fight?
I didn't have a lot of trouble with it. I didn't think it was... I thought it was balanced well. I didn't think it was too easy or too challenging or too unfair. Emily's weapon is basically your default weapon, so it's almost the same. So if you've been using that through the game, you're used to it anyway, so it doesn't put you at a disadvantage.
I think it's slightly stronger, isn't it? Or it can hold more bullets.
Maybe.
I think it held more bullets, but I remember. I could be misremembering a lot of things I did with this game. I remember having a hard time with the combat on this fight in the Xbox 360 version, and this is the PS3 version. But I think, like I said earlier, I think I had read that the director's cut actually improved a few things, including aiming. So maybe that's what it was. Aiming is a little better, and it was a lot easier to get through than comparing to the original version.
This is one of those sad times where I couldn't just click the LRT button and auto-aim. You actually have to manually aim.
I use the gun. I use the handgun the majority of the time. Towards the end of the game, I started using a shotgun and the little automatic gun you get.
I got halfway through, and I was like, they're taking about 10 minutes each now. I've got to switch.
Towards the end, when you start getting the cords of monsters thrown at you, I just started using a shotgun or just ran, because you'd run through past most of them anyway. At that point,
I realised that too late as well. I think I generally think this boss was slightly tedious and repetitive, but I think it was sandwiched in between 2 really good clips, and that's what I was wanting at the moment. So I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want Dark Souls at this moment. I want to see where this sort of story is escalating to. So I was kind of fine with it.
And when Thomas dies, he surely dies, because he got the hook right through his face. I was like, holy shit.
So Emily
is rescued by Willie.
That's it, yes. And then Willie goes to kind of attack Thomas, Thomas is brandishing a knife at this point, and in what can only be a sort of described as a U-beam frame moment, Thomas's knife goes flying into the air and stabs him in his chest, and then he stumbles onto a massive meat cleaver that's been left in the clock tower.
He stumbles off of the little platform slash I guess clock hog.
Yeah.
The clock gear, and then he kind of tumbles into his large hook that's there for some reason, and he goes like right through his face.
I had forgotten about this, and I just burst out laughing.
This was popcorn in the mouth moment, wasn't it? I was really enjoying this.
It was like one of those B movies we used to watch, Zach.
Zach. I think it's probably a good time to just make a sort of brief note about Thomas. I mean, sorry, I don't think has intentionally written a sort of hateful character like against transsexual people.
No.
Or homosexual people. But he's certainly probably not done a lot of research. Like Thomas, I think because I felt quite warm towards Thomas as a character. I didn't see it initially.
I thought you suspected him from the start, though.
Well, again, and the fact that I kind of thought, because they've sort of depicted him as gay, he probably won't be the killer, because that's giving him an extra layer of complexity. And in the sort of early 2000s, they weren't giving very stereotypical characters like that a lot of complexity. But I think he is kind of brandished as like the freak in this game, and I think probably.
But I don't think he's treated like that by the other characters.
I don't think he's treated like, definitely not by York. I think York at one point says like, whatever your disposition is none of my concern. What I'm interested in here is the case. But then later on you'll get George sort of saying that he's like a weirdo. I don't know. I think this is something Square's probably gotten better as you were saying, Tony, before, in Deadly Premonition 2, there is a transgender part that actually had to be edited and rewritten after the game released because it was offensive to the transgender community. And Square was apologetic about that and did make those changes post that game being released. So I think sort of at worst he's probably sometimes just a little unresearched when writing these characters.
I don't think it was completely intentional. I think maybe I haven't played part 2 yet. But I don't think maybe he wrote it without realizing how it looks.
Yes.
Then again, this could also be the whole trans thing could be a reference to maybe it was kind of a reference to Francis De Palma's Dress to Kill, and even what was that other movie? Crying Game, maybe. But then again, like I said, I think he was just kind of writing it, maybe even another character in part 2, and then not realizing how offensive it may have it turned out to maybe being. But because I don't think it didn't seem spiteful or hateful. I don't think, at least. And again, it may be. And if it is, I apologize if I offended you at any chance, but that's just more the way I see it.
Yeah. But also, equally, I'm saying that opinion as a sort of heterosexual, cisgender male. I'm not going to be the one that can give them the most insightful look on that. But just to note that there is sort of probably something there that would be handled better if it was written today. So this is the moment where one of the pennies drops. York is freed. He's freed by one good thing Thomas says is the next person that comes into this room is going to decide your fate. And Willie comes in and saves him. So York is freed. He joins Emily at the top of the clock tower, now with an impaled Thomas. And York's clocking on something here, mind the pun. York realises that Love G can only be one person at this point, and that the killer is George. My jaw dropped. Literally, I don't know about the first time you played through this game, guys, but I was like, George? Not George. Because, I don't know, did you guys suspect?
The first time? No, I did not clock that it was George at all.
My girlfriend walked by and went, oh yeah, of course it was him. But she hadn't made the connection, the emotional connection that we had made by playing beside George. There's the friction of George at the beginning, obviously the small town FBI kind of friction. Then he sort of opens up to you about his mother. He does say about the stiletto heels, but that turns out not to be relevant. Completely took me for six.
I didn't suspect him, but I don't think my jaw dropped either. Like I said, I was ready to see what the hell this was all going, and it certainly took me somewhere. So I was like, oh shit, George, that sucks. All right, moving on.
And then we do move on. We move straight to the police station where York gets the opinion that this is where it's all going to end. We go into another shadow world. They're reusing a shadow world here because we've already done a sheriff's station shadow world. And we find Lady Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a great way. Her tongue's been cut out.
Yeah.
And she is having some discourse with Emily.
And she shoves seeds into Emily's mouth. Carol vomits blood and dies.
Before she does that, she's sort of talking about he never wanted us. We're just substitutes. Because they've all been dressed. All these sort of victims have been dressed in red at the time, and even Thomas had donned this red dress as George's accomplice. And George is just interested in one person, and we're finding out in the scene that it's Emily. It's always been Emily. Since she got to the town, I think it's all sort of led up to sort of this fascination, this obsession that George has with Emily.
There's a funny parallel of Carol and Thomas spiting Emily, because didn't Emily spite Diane for a similar reason?
I think, York sort of goes, this is we'll have to talk about sort of depiction of women in this game as well. But I think York's like, Emily acted a bit weird around Diane.
Diane, yeah.
Is that because Diane's got sexual prowess and is so Carol obviously shoves the red seeds in to Emily's mouth and then dies. At which point York they leave and York tells Kaysen to take Emily to hospital. And Kaysen says, "Oh, you should come with us." And York's like, "No, I've got some business to attend to here." As a play, where that's sort of leading.
Mm-hmm.
The boss fight with George. A second boss fight in about 10 minutes.
This is the most pathetic boss fight I've ever played in my life, because he was so both forms were just so easy. There's nothing to them. You shot him in the back. I think the other one, he got a little more intense in his second phase, but I was just because mind you, I completely forgot about the boss fight of Kaysen until after. Where it's it's not. Isn't this supposed to be a giant supposed to fake or something? And then that's 10 minutes later, I was fighting the giant. But I just I'm come on now, you can do a little better, George. Come on, man.
Do you want to talk us through the initial cutscene, Neal?
Well, we see George's upside down peace mark on his back through his scars.
Yes, so the scars that he has on his back, when cropped with a small. First we can say he's in complete S&M kind of leather, kitted out biker 80s gear, with a hole in it, which is showing the red tree. I think Harry gives us a kind of hint towards that at some point, saying not everything can keep its form the same way forever. And I think he's kind of hinting at this may look like something, but actually it can be changed. And then George lets us into a secret, which is he's got real big mummy issues.
Well, he also he says something about blaming Emily for corrupting her small town sensibilities.
Yes, yeah. George is he's not really taking the responsibility, is he? And he's constantly sort of shouting out to his mum, I did this for you. He feels like he's becoming a turn. At this point, he seems like he feels like I've done my ritual. And he starts necking back these seeds, and then turns into what I can only describe as Ogre from Tekken 3, George.
There's one thing he says. I don't remember. I think this happens at the end of the final fight, but I think he says something about he tells York, "This is the mark of power," and York's like, "That's the mark of child abuse." It was a very CSI. Miami type thing. I was expecting to put some glasses on and have Rolling Stones play, because that was. He says a few of those, and that's the one that caught me off guard most. And I just started laughing. I was like, "Come on, man!" He looks right at camera too. He's like, "Hey, I just made a joke." I'm like, "You did your good job." because that had me rolling.
He gives one-liners, it really does, particularly towards the end of the game, but they tend to be one-liners where everyone in the party would leave the room at that point, but he thinks they're really cool. He's like immune to being embarrassed, isn't he?
He was so proud of himself.
Like, I think this is probably a good time to just quickly talk about York as a voice actor. I think a lot of the voice acting is very good. The style is strange, but that's kind of like in keeping with the sort of atmosphere.
Twin Peaks feel.
Yes.
Because in Twin Peaks and in most of David Lynch movies, they talk of a very, very weird, hard to explain, kind of outer-worldly world of talking. It's like very weird and strange and unusual, and it's like all dialogue.
It's got a really weird pacing. It's not how you would sort of say it. He's not going, oh, do you want to go to the shops? Yeah, get me a Mars bar. It's nothing like that. It's very sort of weird and awkward.
Weird, otherworldly, and very dreamy.
Yes.
Kind of like a dream type of. And they caught that feel was the entire game, and the voice acting, even some of the work that I thought the voice acting in general was pretty good. Naturally, York's was just spot on, but they catch that feel just being made you feel out of place and into a new strange environment, and just like much like York.
I think had York's performance been any less, this would not be the game it is. He's really adding like a lot to this and carrying a lot on his shoulders. So yeah, the fight itself, janky. There's one janky fight. You sort of go around this sort of circular place, and you basically have to shoot him on his exposed sort of red tree back, which he only does once in a while. Was anyone thrilled by this?
It was fine.
No. It was, like I said, it was the saddest boss fight I've ever played, because it was so simple, and there was actually almost very little threat. There was kind of a threat towards the end, when you got a little more angrier, but otherwise, even then, I was just like, I'm just going through the motions at this point.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed Thomas's fight more, and that's saying something. Then he gets very upset at you because you're kind of winning this fight, and he throws an axe. He throws an axe at you, and you shoot it back at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I just want everyone to just take a moment to absorb that as a concept. I know that's not the strangest thing in this game, but he's just like throwing an axe which is spinning at you, and you shoot it and it goes directly at him, which is, I know that's standard FBI training, but pretty impressive.
They're trained in marksmanship.
Yeah.
It's very B-movie, which is, the entire game, really.
His dying cutscene is actually a lot longer than the extended version in the director's cut, because in the director's cut he's giving you this spiel as he is coming to his end about, but I'm sorry, Mum, and I did what you wanted, and I did everything the man said, and you're there going, what's this other entity that seems to be influencing George? And that's when you start to get the feeling that it isn't quite over yet. Also, it's worth to note that he dies in a sort of tree formation, which is, nice, sort of in keeping. And then we faint, because it's been a hard time. We've just defeated Thomas and George. Where do we go after that?
To the hospital. We wake up in the hospital. It's like a day and a half later. And we find out Emma was never brought there.
We find out by an usher who seems to be really over-obsessed with playing chess with you at this point. You've just woken up from unconsciousness. And he's like, chess? And you're like, where's Emily? He's like, oh, she never came here, but do you want to play some chess? Like, just very socially weird thing for Mike. But if I just woke up in the middle of the hospital and they were like, you're white, so you start, I would, I don't know what I'd do, but it's weird. It's a weird man.
Hey man, I should stop passion, alright? Leave him alone.
Maybe he figured that York was groggy and he could beat him.
Maybe.
Dr. Usher has his passions.
Yeah, it's chess.
Regardless of whether or not you just woke up from a slight coma or not, he wants to play chess with you. That's very sweet.
His sideline, when you see them at the beginning in the town centre when they were having a meeting, he's next to another woman who's sort of talking about him and sort of how great he is. At least I think she's talking about him. But he's someone I would like to have got to know a bit better.
There was one character, she's sitting about him, and you see him with a shock face. Like she said something about him.
That's it,
I can't remember. I don't think it was anything good. I think it was she was talking crap, and he was like, "What?" Something. I can't quite remember how that scene played out.
All the hardcore Deadly Premonition fans are shouting down their.
Yes, I apologize.
Now.
I came in as a Twin Peaks expert, even though I'm only a partially expert. I'm an expert compared to these other two.
So what did we get? We were left with keys on the map. Was it keys on the map?
Keys on the map.
Perfect. It's always keys.
And we go to Cason's house. We go in the house and we find a corpse, which is very similar to the reveal in Psycho.
George's house isn't open a lot, but if you do some of the side missions, I think they do lead you. One does lead you to George's house, but you can actually find George's mother earlier in the game. I may be wrong in that.
Right, it was his mother. He's like, I think he was talking like a sick mom or something.
She's more than sick. She's dead. There's a tree spouting out of her abdomen.
That's a form of sickness, death.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get a day off.
We also find a shrine to Emily.
Everyone knows that makes up Carol Thomas.
George's apartment, secret passage. We meet Mum. She's delightful, not much of a speaker.
Terrible host.
Yeah, not a cup of tea in sight. And then I think you see a picture with George and the killer who you don't know who he is at the moment. Well, I mean, can you actually see him at this point? It's a picture of George and someone that says, "Meet me at the theatre." You know that's Cason at this point, right?
I think it's George and Cason.
When I saw the picture of Cason, I was like, yeah, he's the killer. That's the moment.
So FK finally clicked for you.
Wait, you only figured out when you saw the picture?
I mean, no, I was figuring out while Usher was assaulting me with chess pieces. But I mean, we all take our own routes to the sun.
We all learn in different ways.
And then this is a great sequence. Someone want to talk about playing as the Raincoat Killer.
So we play as the Raincoat Killer in 1956. So we're playing as Harry Stewart's father. I had this as a little bit boring. It's a little bit repetitive. Because you basically have one movement in which you're able to kill people. And you're on a time limit.
Yeah, I mean, you can hardly kill people. You don't have time to kill people. You just got to run past them.
I didn't realize that you had to keep on going. I thought you had to kill everybody in the area, so I went around killing everybody in the area. Then I realized that wall that's blocking you, it goes past a certain point. So I didn't see one corner, and I was trying to run, and then the bell rang, and it was like you lost. I'm like, what's stopping me from still getting there? But
isn't it literally saying the bell rings twice, the bell rings 3 times, and then you're there again?
13 times.
Yeah, it's the 13th one. And you're right though, the route is really convoluted. At most points when you're running, you're like, it's telling me I generally need to go in that area, but that's all blocked off for as far as the eye can see. But you always have to go up and around. It is a bit boring maybe. It's got Amazing Grace playing in the background, which I thought was a really nice touch. And I think if anything, it was atmosphere over gameplay at this moment. Plus,
it just was weird. It just weird that they. I mean, it wouldn't make a difference if you ran straight there or if you took this long, pointless. I guess they wanted you to hear the entire song.
Yeah,
they paid for it.
But I thought that was quite effective. And also, if you get to play as the Raincoat Killer, you don't, when you are the bad guy, you don't have to worry about the bad guy anymore, do you, I guess? And it was fun to yield the axe. I mean, it's not God of War fun, but it was all right.
We didn't get to waggle our finger, though.
No, naughty, no, we did not. And as you're getting to the clock tower, you come back into present day, and you were George at the clock tower. He's probably, made his own way there, maybe not to Amazing Grace, but he's made his way. And the townspeople are in disarray. They seem to have being affected by this, whatever's been affecting everyone else.
The purple gas.
At this point, I'm constantly thinking, they're going to explain the undead throughout this game, aren't they? I mean, there's something about the soil. Obviously, when you die, you can be buried, you end up in the soil. They're going to tie that in at some point. I don't think they ever really do they? So the people go mad, but the undead are just they're just there.
I thought they might explain it after Emily had seen the other world, but it never gets addressed.
Yes, and the fact that Emily can see the other world makes me realise that, because at first I was like, is York having sort of hallucinations. He's the only one that can ever sort of seem to see this world. This is his way of processing, getting through a case. But yeah, Emily does as well. So they are bona fide. All the townspeople are attacking each other. The twins are there. They haven't been affected yet because they're weird anyway. They go, save me, something like that, isn't it? And then they turn as well and start attacking you.
Yeah, so they're hiding behind him, and then they bite him, I think, in the ass.
I think they bit his arm or something.
No, I think they bite him, like, in the leg, like behind the knee or something.
Oh.
So we find our way into the community centre, the Clock Tower building, and go into the main theatre to find Old Forest Kaysen.
Who'd have thunk it?
On stage with a quite dishevelled looking Emily at this point.
I had completely forgotten about this part when I played the game.
So did I.
Because I really feel like this is the part that's going to stick with me for
Yes, I know, and that's the thing. I was really surprised that I had forgotten about this part.
I completely forgot about the little turn of Emily. I was just like, because you see that, because I saw that. Oh, we can get to that. I guess I'll mention that when we talk about it.
Yeah, we find Emily. Her shirt is kind of like opened, so you can see her belly, and she has a red tree, sort of growing bloody red tree, sort of growing out of her as she sat down. Kaysen first berates you for choosing your job over coming with Emily, as if this has kind of been our fault. And then sort of says he's had his way with her, basically, sort of implying he sort of sexually assaulted her.
Well, York tries to get Emily to go with her, and she says she won't because she's been soiled.
Yes. I think this is again, slightly tricky territories. I think it's obviously like a very clumsy metaphor for rape.
There's nothing sort of tasteless or indelicate about the way it's handled. Like they are deliberately using words that give you an understanding of what's going on, but are not treating it in a way as to make a mockery of it.
But it's interesting because I think Emily's saying, I don't know if it's at this point a little later, she's saying, end my life now. You know, I kind of have been soiled, which isn't like the most positive message you want to sort of bring up when you're sort of talking about rape. But then York himself says, you know, no matter what Kaysen has done to your body, you are who, you know, your essence, you are Emily. You know, you are who you are in your mind, and that, you know, that's nothing Kaysen could have done to you would have changed that. Which I suppose, if that line wasn't in there, I would probably have a lot more of an issue with this scene, but that does sort of, I suppose, negate some of the sort of negative context that they're sort of saying about
I think
rape in general.
Yes, I think the idea is that it's Emily who sees herself as soiled because she sort of let Kaysen trick her. Not so much that he let her have his way with her, but he let her fool her. Yes.
In fact, when she first wakes up, she seems to be under the spell where she feels like Kaysen is actually York, and they start kissing. And I've got written down horrible tongue kiss.
Yes.
This isn't it's grim, this kiss.
Well, it's trying to get across what a monster the Kaysen is, and it's effective.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, definitely.
So then we get a flash, and York suddenly remembers his parents, and that it was Kaysen who had done the same thing to his mother rather than his father. And his mother had actually died from the tree, not from his father shooting her.
Yes, so this is the scene that we see several times throughout the game where he thinks that his father has killed his mother, but actually he's holding his gun there, and Kaysen had been behind this as well. I think we get the phrase about purging to sort of save the world, if it means losing one you love, and York's father can't shoot York's mother. He can't find it in himself to do it, and she dies anyway from the tree.
And then we see York's father kill himself.
Then we get another large reveal that at the moment that York witnessed this, he gets sent. I think he gets sent into the white room again, doesn't he? And he meets York, because actually this kid who has been witnessing this has been Zach all along, and we find out that York, the character we know, is actually Zach, and York has sort of come in and invested his invaded his psyche as a sort of coping mechanism.
Like a defense mechanism, coping mechanism. I really like that. That was so. I think that's so well done. Like,
yeah, nice.
If he drives this entire game, like why is he talking? How come he's talking? Emily's talking to someone. How come he's saying she really likes you, Zach, and all this? It's really weird. And then you find out it was his own, like a guard that was put up, I guess, spirit in a sense, I guess, again, trying to say, but it was his own personal guard that was protecting him. I thought it was really well done. I liked it. It was a good little twist on things, even though it wasn't really a twist. It all made sense. It didn't feel convoluted.
Yes. And I think particularly because we didn't get like an answer about why the zombies like rocking around all over the place in the red vines, to get an actual resolve to who this character was, I genuinely wasn't banking on it, but yeah, very satisfying.
I saw the zombies. I didn't mention it earlier. I saw the zombies as just, I guess, maybe it was the disturbed spirits, and that's why Zach was able to tap into something to see them, because he was already traumatized, and he's able to, York and Zach, the trauma they suffered together. York is an otherworldly being, I guess, they're trying to hint at. Our spiritual beings able to see these other, this unnormal, the monsters that are right in front of everybody, no one can see, like the haunted spirits, or the haunted souls of the victims of the original killings. That's how I saw it as.
Yeah, I can take that, and particularly because, I mean, in a moment we're going to get to a bit where Kaysen goes, how did you get out of the Red Room? So there is this sort of connection between, it's that kind of Stranger Things thing, isn't it, of like the real world and this other world.
Do they call it the Red Room directly?
He does, yes. Or the Red Forest, or the, something like that.
Because the Red Room, I mentioned this up already, in Twin Peaks is a little world that Agent Cooper goes to, and has this glorious room of being people in there, and he gets this little, it's an otherworldly place, and with a red curtain, and a lot of the weird stuff, like, he goes in there and he gets like cryptic clues of what's going on. So it's similar to how this is. I don't remember him calling it the Red Room, and they may have.
He may have put it the Red World, but he's put it the Red something. But yes, like, just before we get to that, York, or now Zach, awakes in the theatre, looking like Cisco now. He's got the fresh white hair.
Like who?
Cisco, the 90s popular culture musician.
The late 90s, early 2000s R&B artist?
Funk song?
No idea.
You know he knows who Cisco is. Cisco, let me see that thong. Let me see
that thong.
I listen to Swedish death metal. I have no idea who Cisco is.
Did he not penetrate the Swedish death metal world?
It was inescapable. It was like
it wasn't TV a lot.
It was like, Ice Ice Baby and Can't Touch This, and it was that levels of
no memory of it.
But anyway, that is not.
Anyway, I heard the Swedish death metal version of it, probably.
But yes, he's got the hair. He's.
I actually want to listen to that.
He's become himself. What, the funk song or the Swedish death metal of it?
The Swedish death metal version of the funk song. This would be fucking incredible, I think, personally.
Yeah, that's a big miss that isn't one of those. Anyway, and we're back, and Emily is asking you. I think that says something about, I hope that you'll be able to, you're going to be called upon by fate to sort of make a decision of this brevity, and I hope you can do it. I don't know if that's what the granddad says to the daughter, but there's that sort of message in here. And at this point, the game's basically telling you to kill Emily, and you get a choice. You start aiming your gun at Emily, and it says point your gun at Emily, point your gun at Kaysen, or put it down. I think that might be a fair choice, or a neutral choice.
No, point it at yourself.
I did all three.
If you point it at Kaysen, it tells you to try again. If you shoot yourself, you get a game over.
It doesn't matter anyway, because we come to find out you try to shoot Emily. He doesn't want to, and Emily just kills herself. So what was the whole point of that?
Yeah, it is a bit like that. It's like, here's three choices, but you're going to choose one of them. At this point, the game is obviously telling you the right thing to do is shoot Emily, but as a person who, like, you've just spent the last 20 so hours forming relationships with these characters, and if Emily more so than most, I didn't want to shoot Emily, and I must say I did actually look up online and go, what do you have to do here? And it gave me that same answer of the other two are going to bounce back. I hate to do that, I rarely do it, but I did it in this instance, and it made no difference. So yeah, you try to shoot Emily, and you miss on purpose, and you say you can't do it, and Emily's not having much of it, and she yanks the tree out herself in quite a gruesome
that was
scene.
Pretty intense. Yeah, Emily just wasn't having it. I was like, I don't want to play this. I don't want to have a tree on my stomach. And it's funny because I kind of forgot that I completely forgot she died, and even more so since you see the granddaughter, I'm like, oh yeah, that's their daughter. And then it most certainly wasn't.
At some point when I was playing through this, my girlfriend was on the sofa next to me, and she did sort of mention, like, the women in this game don't get a lot of
character development,
autonomy over their own fate. Like, they basically all die. I couldn't argue against that. Like, all the women in this game basically are overpowered in some way, or sort of come to their death because of Kaysen.
Half the women of the town get, like, brutally murdered.
And Emily dies, but not in such a way. When Emily dies, I'm like, that was kind of a gut punch.
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I completely forgot, and when I remember, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna live happily ever after.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, she's not really dead, is she? And then blood kind of spurting out of her, and I go, oh no, she's dead. But they kind of negate that slightly by then you going into the white dream-like scenario, and you have all the victims who are now goddesses of the forest, and Emily's walking towards them with York.
To think about the whole goddess thing, I understand the like Diane and everybody. Okay, but it was Thomas and Carol there when they were like part of the ones causing the problem. Why did they become goddesses? That didn't really click with me.
Well, I think they all get coerced. Like, even though like Anna and Becky get coerced by this sort of lure of this sort of the secret room, I think equally Thomas and Carol are kind of used by George.
I guess, but I mean, at the same time, they also try to murder people.
Okay, I have a really good analogy. It's like how Darth Vader becomes a Force ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi. He was evil, but then he was sort of good at the end. They were...
Carol wasn't great at the end.
Well, yeah, but... Yeah.
I am not at all a Star Wars fan.
You're not Star Wars
fan? I like some of the games.
I'm sure we get some of those Republics coming out again.
But so yes, I guess that reference kind of flies over my head. I understand it, but then again, like, I didn't really. I watched it when we were very young. So my brother loves Star Wars, and that's about it.
Send your hate mail to PlayStation Rumble Podcast.
I'm going to double down on it. I've never been a big fan. I've seen some of them, and then someone took me to episode 7. I believe I don't know how they number these things. The oldest of the new ones, and I thought that I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to see them in the cinema. But before Neal is the one writing the hate mail to us, I think we should move on and talk about the final boss fight with Kaysen.
Well, the first part, he's hanging on the ceiling and then he bounces around as a ball, if I remember correctly. I thought that part was fine. It's you just need a weapon with good range to be able to hit him. I think I used the Magnum at that point.
I wasted all my ammunition on the spikes. I completely forgot. And I didn't have... So when the next one happens, I had to have my handgun.
No, I had the Magnum with unlimited ammo and the shotgun with unlimited ammo at this point.
Well,
so...
Fortunately, I didn't do those side quests. And my life would probably been a lot easier a little bit. But even I didn't have a high power name regardless. Like I said, I played 90% of the game just as a handgun, so it didn't really affect me that much.
Yeah, I genuinely enjoyed the balloon bit probably more than any of the other boss bits that had come before this.
It was a little similar to Thomas's in that you've got a target that's moving around and you've got to hit it.
Yep.
Not exactly the same, but
I felt safe because I thought this is the final boss, and he's not trying to get right in my face, like he's not getting up in my grill, because that is a bit into. Even when George is in the small circle, I'm like, oh, come on, I don't want to be too close. Like, give me a bit of distance. But you do that. It's quite a simple section, and then we have the endless sort of stairs down in a sort of circular. I think you're going down the clock tower, but
that's right.
Square, it's like a circle.
Yeah, you're going down the forever stairs.
That part was brutal.
Not only was it brutal, this is where I found one of the more annoying glitches for me in the game. You're wiggling left and right on your left analog stick to run, and pressing the other buttons to dodge. And there's a lot of quick time events, so it's a little unforgiving in itself just with that. But I would get a glitch where he would just sort of start slowing down and then stop.
I think I had the same problem.
It was really annoying.
With the wiggling, right?
Yeah. It ceased to do something after a little while.
I think I had between once or twice.
And luckily enough, it wasn't too bad, because if you paused the game and unpaused it, you'd resume running. But it was a long enough section without that, and it was hard with.
At least it was an instant kill, so.
Yes, that is true. And then we get to the final section on. I didn't even think about this, but they're always on like the top of a castle or a mountain, aren't they? This is exactly the same. You're in a big open air area. Kason goes to sort of full Tekken ogre mode here.
You wanted him in your face. He's in your face at this point.
Yeah, he's going Ghostbusters. He's huge, and yes, yeah. Well, even then, he's kind of staying a little far back, and you have these. It's not the most challenging of fights.
So did you figure it out, or were you stuck there for an hour?
At this point, I thought it's probably Kason. He's probably the person.
I'm talking about besides that. Oh, that's what he's.
I've got a feeling here.
When Kason's trying to murder me, that's what I thought. He's not up and up, is he?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like I know you have a thing where you get stuck on simple puzzles. I take it.
Thank you for saying that, Tony. No, I mean...
You can cut that out.
No, I'm joking.
I'm just saying, I mean, were you able to figure out where to shoot him?
Yes, I was. But even that was glaring enough for me that he was holding his case, and I was like, I've seen that in a dream, and it's trying to tell me something. Also, he's saying at certain points throughout, and I think at the end, how are you hurting me? As if like he's this like sort of demigod kind of invincible sort of creature from the other world, and he's really surprised that this like a human is able to like shoot an effect and like, hurt him. He's like, what is this pain? And I was thinking, oh yeah, actually, what is this pain? If he was just like, if bullets could do it, how are we just like being able to shoot him and that's like painful? Because he obviously seems surprised by it.
It's a video game.
Am I taking it too seriously?
Yes.
It's a video game. You can't explain something, wizards.
Yeah, sorry, it was the wizards. You do that for a little bit.
Famous Simpsons.
You do that for a little bit, and then he sort of signals. He kind of slams down on the ground. You have to climb up his. He's like absolutely huge at this point. You're climbing up his shoulders, and then you've got to kill the Kason doll. Shoot at the Kason doll in his little pouch. Did any of you struggle on this?
No.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with any of that. Did you figure out that's where he had the doll shit in?
Yes, I did do that. Thank you, Tony.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of my boy.
We'll see next episode how good I am with puzzles, I'm sure.
To tie into the next episode, it's a little bit Shadow of the Colossus in that you have to climb up and find his weak spot.
I found it, when I was on his shoulders, you only get to see him for a little bit, and the controls are, they're not that great, and trying to aim at that thin sliver of opportunity, it took me a couple of goes.
I mean, it's not the most it's not the most original boss design, so it was pretty easy to figure out and get everything up for me. So I don't have any problems. I just used all my major ammo just to welcome me, because I own my handgun, and because the last boss fight, I used all my ammo. And so when I got to this part, I just had my handgun. But it wasn't too bad.
But we do defeat him. I think he says, at some point, to be honest, to answer my question, he says, how could you hurt me? And he goes, well, I'm in the FBI. You've just been served by an FBI agent.
I think that's at the end, yeah.
And another one was his little CSI Miami things.
And then Zack goes back to Emily's body and tells Emily not to wait for York to propose, because he's just sort of terrible at these things and sort of take the initiative. Sort of making you envision they are living in this sort of other, sort of more peaceful place together. And then you see the Kaysen doll on the floor as he's walking away, which is a kind of real sort of like 90s thriller horror game thing of like, oh, here's the sequel, but then he just steps on it and it makes a little weird squeaks sound, and I quite like that.
We meet Harry without his gas mask for the first time, I think. Is that correct? I believe.
No, he's had no gas mask sometimes when he's in the White Room.
Oh, yes, that's right.
But this is the first time in the real world.
And Zach talks to Harry and surmises that Stuart is not his real name. And then we find out Harry's last name is Woodman, and that he was George's father.
At this point, I'm like, how many twists can you hit? Like, this was the twist too far for me.
There is something I want to mention, because Harry says he was also unable to shoot his wife. He specifically says that. But he also says, my wife suffered from mental illness. But he never specifically says whether that Kaysen affected his wife. So was he going to shoot his wife because she was mentally ill?
No, I think the implication was that he was in the same situation. I mean, what I understood is he was in the same situation with Kaysen and couldn't shoot him in the same way that Zach's dad couldn't. I mean, I think that's probably what they were going for there, isn't it?
I believe that's what they're going for, that he was in the same situation with Kaysen.
And we see the picture of the goddesses again, and they're all there and looking very happy and not like they've just all been bloodily murdered.
So as they drive off, Zach sees Emily in the forest. He's being driven by Michael Tillotson, who is... it actually says he's Harry's adopted son, though I don't think it ever says that in the game.
Did it?
Yeah.
Is there a side? Maybe there's a side quest where you find it out.
Maybe. So this is another scene which actually echoes the movie, because they're driving and he sees something and Zach says stop the car, which is similar to the end of Batman Returns when he sees Catwoman and he tells Alfred to stop the car. So Zach sees Emily in the forest, but when he walks over, he finds the twins.
They're being weird as usual.
Wow, Jamie really does not like. Yeah, we might have to cut that out, because there's going to be people saying I'm a twin.
I'm sorry, but they are not normal children.
We might have the twins come after us.
And they are talking to I think there's this sense that they can see the goddesses of the forest.
Yes.
They can see all the murder victims. I'm assuming as well York. And Zach is there saying, send them my love. And they're all sort of smiling in sort of family photo way.
The boys are talking about how they can see Emily, and Emily really likes Zach, and he's like, no, they like my other guy. And the boys are like, you're twins like us.
Yes, yeah, that's a nice moment in another ways. Weird set of encounters with the twins. And then Zach says, I think George brought Anna, not Anna, how she said, but Anna. I think George brought Anna to the forest for the boys to see, so that they could sort of. I don't think he meant initially like discover Anna's body, but like that they would live in the forest as goddesses there if George had done this, which is nice of George considering he was like a sort of psychopathic killer. Yeah.
One thing we skipped over is that the boys actually go over to Emily and get the locket from her and give it to Zach.
And also, Kaysen in the final fight says, "Oh, and I tricked George into thinking this locket was important. I just got it on Amazon for $5, which is just like I don't know, there's a lot of things in this game, isn't there? And then we get a goodbye Polly scene. I'm glad we got to see Polly again before the end of the game. We get to see the clock tower picture. I wonder if you can see that clock tower picture the whole game, because it shows Kaysen there at the erection of the clock tower.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. If they want you to see it, they'll be there.
I've got Willie with a Kaysen doll here as well.
Yes, that's right. Zach is just kind of walking on the ridge, and then we see Willie following him, and he's got a Kaysen doll in his mouth.
There must have been a sale on Kaysen dolls, or maybe that's the. Oh, is it over?
It might be the same doll from before. I mean, didn't was it the part where the farce where he tells him he kind of tells him to himself, what she says, go for Emily because he's never going to ask you.
Yes.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, he's got. They've got Zach's blessing, to say the least. Then it goes to a. So this game's ended twice already at this point, but we get taken to the grandpa talking to his granddaughter, wrapping up the lovely bedtime story.
He tells his granddaughter that Emily is still in the forest.
And he's calling his granddaughter Emily, even though that's not her name, sort of misnaming her. And then you think, all right, credits now. But no, we've still got a little bit more. Then we go to a weird sort of dreamy diner. We go back to the A&G diner, is it?
Yeah, it is.
And all the victims are there, all the goddesses of the forest, because they've been a bit hungry since the scene with the twins, and they've gone for a burger. and old man Zach is there with young York. I feel like the only reason for the scene was to sort of have they have a little sort of, oh hi, nice to see you again kind of moment.
I thought it meant that Zach died. That it was he was passing before he passed to the passing to the other side. He was saying goodbye to everybody. He wants to say goodbye to York. He said goodbye to York one last time.
Okay, he mentioned something. He mentioned something about New Orleans. He mentioned something about people walking backwards. And he says, you know what that... He says something to the effect of, you know what that means, or you feel something, don't you? And I believe it's meant to be a setup for a sequel.
So it's there's been these cases, they're weird, near New Orleans. You know what that means, don't you? Like, let's get the old band back together. But, I mean, you might be right, Tony, in the way that... the reason I think you might be right is because then we get treated to seeing the room where old Zach was telling the story to his daughter, and the chair's now empty. So that either means he's gone off to do this investigation, or it could be like he's passing away, I suppose you could argue.
It obviously meant for the eventual sequel that came out. But I think at first when
he's not older than the sequel, is he?
Well, I'll get to that in a second.
It's the sequel. The sequel is two different timelines. Yeah. No, I'm just saying when I originally saw it, I'm like, when he died, you just think about him, as he passes. But then when they mentioned the New Orleans thing and his granddaughter was like, "Mom, he's gone again," or where did he go? And it's like, okay.
So these are the final credits.
My first impressions was maybe which is him saying his final goodbye before he moved on to his next life or to the afterlife.
During the credits, we hear Michelle and her mother talking, and they're doing some casual banter. We find out his granddaughter's name is Michelle Louise Morgan. And I have a note here that just says, the voice acting here is horrible.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, and then
that's the end.
The end of the game.
The end of Deadly Premonition. One hell of a game.
It is one hell of a game, and I think...
Warts and all.
Like the reviews... I went through the whole spectrum of human emotion playing this game. As I said, when I played that first bit, I was like, what have I done to us? I think somewhere near the end of episode 1, I was like, I kind of get this. It's kind of not the best thing I've ever seen, and I'm definitely selling my copy after the podcast. But
you're keeping it now, aren't you?
It's staying on that shelf because I don't know. There are parts of this game I really love.
Jamie, you're forgetting that when you mentioned playing it, me and Neal were down for it. We were like, yes, hell yes, play this. So it's not like you think we're trying to trick you.
I mean, when's the last time you played it? 10 years ago? Maybe you didn't remember quite how...
About 7 years ago. And, let me put it this way. This is the 4th copy of this game that I bought. So...
I've got another copy if you want now.
All these games are getting remastered and, redone by other companies. This is one that just really needs it. Honestly,
I think. I mean, it'd be hard though because if you remastered it, you take out some of the shine that people like, which is the awkwardness.
I mean, in the sense that you're getting a port that won't explode on you.
Yeah.
Because the PC version, like I said in the beginning of the episode, or in the first episode, was an abomination. Is just a complete disaster. The Xbox 360 version, the PS3 version has its issues, the Switch version I'm sure has its issues, but PC version is a complete abomination. You're lucky if it even wants to run for you. There's so many issues with it. I hope. Allegedly, there's going to be a port of the second game.
Are you guys going to play the second game?
I have.
I want to.
You have.
But I'm waiting. I'm hoping that it gets ported to the PS4 and PS5 maybe eventually. Or even the PC, but like a competent port. And I'm hoping that if that happens, they release, a port of the original game, or a report for the PC, or a port for the PS4, PS5, whatever they said to do, Xbox and everything like that, of the first game, but done properly, more competent, to where you're able to fully enjoy it as a newcomer.
The Switch version I played, it's I remember the PS3 version as being fairly stable. And when I played it when I was at home during Thanksgiving, it looked fine. It ran okay. I played around in different chapters. I didn't have any significant problems with it. The Switch version crashed on me once during the game. The frame rate is horrible on the Switch version, but the frame rate is bad in pretty much every version. So
yeah, on all of them, really, pretty much.
Well, maybe you can answer this, Neal, because I thought the first game, they kind of had that sort of, I suppose you could argue, lightning in a bottle thing of not knowing that it was going to be received so sort of beloved. I think now, because it's got a representation of being a bit janky, but in a good way, being a bit weird, but in a sort of lovable way. Did they try to sort of, did they place that and try and sort of amp all that stuff up to the top? Because I think if it's self-aware, I wonder if it loses that sort of charm.
I didn't think it felt entirely self-aware, maybe a little.
I know there's definitely performance issues on Switch version.
Oh, the frame rate is awful. It's worse than the original.
That's why I'm hoping. That's why I'm avoid picking it for that system. Even though I don't currently have it in my possession. That's what I'm hoping. When I heard rumors of the PC port, I was hoping that I was really hoping that it's going to be. If it does happen, rumors are true. That's going to be a decent port, because I do want to play it, but I don't want to play it in that state if I don't have to.
Well, I think I could sum up by saying this is not one of the things that we're going to have to purge from this world, regardless of our love for it.
Buy this game, play this game.
Tony, what's your leading thoughts with this game?
Very enjoyable, warts and all. It's not for everybody, but I did a good time. I think a lot of people will be more and more. Like I said earlier, I'm wishing that I hope more and more people are able to appreciate it for what it is, not for what it does, in terms of performance and everything.
It's something that should be experienced.
I think it really is, and I would never have picked it up if not for this podcast, and I certainly never would have gotten all the way through it if not for this podcast, because I think I would have stumbled on the first episode and gone, I have a better way to spend 20 hours of my life. But I'm really glad that I did. And I think with that, Tony, can you tell us where you can find us on the social medias?
Hey guys, if you enjoyed listening to our voices, reach out to us. Send us an email at PlayStationRumblePodcast@gmail.com, and follow us on Twitter at PSRumble. We've also set up a YouTube account, PlayStation Rumble on YouTube, where we'll be uploading our podcasts and any future episodes we create. So check us out. Let us know what you think.
So, unfortunately, that brings us to the end of our Deadly Premonition discussion. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you are ready to discuss The Last Guardian in the next episode. And we look forward to your feedback and your responses, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
My name is Jamie, and joining me, as always, because he's no one-trick pony, it's Tony.
Alright, that's certainly an intro.
There's the blooper for this week.